Okay, you probably know the famous adage, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, that's never been truer than it is today with the abundant, and that might be an understatement, the abundant use of images on social networks and all over the web, on blogs, everywhere you see them. I'm Denise Wakeman, and I'm your guide to better visibility on the web, and I am thrilled and honored that you're spending your precious time with me today. I know this is a popular subject. I wasn't quite sure how popular it would be until I saw that nearly 400 people have registered for the class today, so that's pretty exciting, and I welcome one and all. I know a lot of you will be listening on a replay, so welcome to you as well. My intention for you today is for you to learn how simple and quick it can be for you to start building your author platform with one simple tool, and that is images. Our program today is 3 clever ways to use images to promote your book, and my greatest wish is that something that I share with you today is going to spark your creativity, and you're going to want to dive in and start experimenting with one of the ideas or more. But I don't want you to get too overwhelmed, because this is, something that I just want you to get started, because what I have found is that so many people fail to start. So I just want to give you some ideas so that you start. How's that? So what you are going to learn today is 3 simple types of images that will attract attention for your book, 3 ways to use those images on your social networks to engage your audience, some tools, at least 3 tools, to create and enhance images so that they stand out. I've got a couple bonus tips that came up while I was putting this together, or a bonus tip, I should say, and then we'll talk about your next steps. So let's get going. For those of you who may not know me that well, and I'm sure there's a few of you, I just will cover this quickly. I've been marketing on the web since 1996. I've been blogging since 2004. I've built 3 successful 6-figure businesses. I'm the author of many blogging and online marketing programs. I've been featured as a co-author in Success Secrets of Social Media Superstars, and another book as well, Trust Your Heart, Turn Your Ideas into Income. And I was just invited to write a chapter for the new edition of Online Marketing Superstars. I'm also a mentor. I speak occasionally, and I'm a trainer. Now, one thing I want you to know is that just because I've been around for a long time working on the web, each business that I started began with no clients and no products and no content. I was just like many of you who may be starting out now or who have recently started your businesses. I've had to market my business and start from scratch too. And a year ago, I started a new business with my partner Ellen Britt, and we started from 0 on that project. So I understand how overwhelming it can be. But basically, as business owners and entrepreneurs, as authors, we have to figure out what works and discard what doesn't. We're pressed for time, and we want to be as efficient as possible so we can get the most bang for our time and energy. And so that's why I just want to cover a few things today that can help get you started getting more visibility for your book. I do want to share a little bit about who I am and what my passions are. It's just going to take a second. If you've been following me around the web for a while, then you probably know that I am obsessed with a few things. One is traveling, and Peru in particular. I've been to Peru twice in the last year, and it's just my heart is there. I just love it so much. I also love to get together with my Dash and Dine crew. They're It's a running group of friends, and basically we run so we can eat breakfast afterwards together. I haven't been able to run for the last few months because I tore the ACL in my right knee, and I'm in recovery right now, but I've been really busting it at physical therapy, so I'm hoping to run again in the next 6 months or so. I also have 2 fur boys, Pele, the black one, and Bo, the orange one, and they're 17 and 13 respectively, and they've been with me since they were babies. And the other thing that you see at the top there, it says Adventures in Visibility. That is a transformation I've been making in my business because I realized through some of the traveling I've been doing is that business is an adventure also. Travel isn't the only way to have adventure, but business is an adventure. And when you approach it that way, it can be so much more fun. So that's the message that I am moving towards, is that you can have fun, you can experiment and make it an adventure, and then it is just so much more enjoyable, to test and experiment with stuff. So that's what I'm about. For the most part. And now let's get rolling. So as an author, you've probably heard about your platform. And your platform is like your virtual stage. It's the place from which you share your important message to the audience who've raised their hands and said they want to hear it. And one of the things I know from working with a lot of authors is that it can really seem daunting, but you've got to have a platform of raving fans if you want to sell your book when it's published. That's just the fact. I mean, you've got to be building an audience for your book. Yet a lot of authors that I've spoken with and worked with really don't focus on building visibility and buzz until after their book is finished, or right around the time where they're completing it and it's going into the publication end of the process. And while it's not too late to start then, because better late than never as far as I'm concerned, your results may be not quite what you want them to be, they won't be as good as if you had started much earlier. And, I've read a couple of things and heard a couple of things from people. Seth Godin said a while back that the time to start building your platform is 3 years before you publish your book. Now, you may not even know you want to publish a book 3 years in advance, so I would say, don't worry about that time frame. I've also believe that if you give it 6 to 9 months before publication, you can make a really good head start. So, let's look at it that way, because 3 years, again, might seem rather daunting too. So when you think about your platform, you really want to think about the fact that it's everybody that you're touching. So it's your Facebook friends, your Twitter followers, all the connections you have on LinkedIn. Maybe you have a LinkedIn group. It's all those people who've joined your group. It's your blog subscribers. It's your email list subscribers. It's people you know in person. All those people form your platform. It's essentially anyone that you can touch and you can engage with, whether it's on a social network or it's in person or it's by email. So if you just think about your network like that, then the idea is that you want to build a robust network of people who really love your message and want to, get anything that you publish. That is the key. You want them waiting for you to publish that book, with bated breath. That's what they want. So why images? Why did I pick images to talk about? Because images, in my opinion, are one of the most powerful ways to connect and engage with people. And with an image, like that adage, a picture speaks 1,000 words, you can quickly convey a complex idea with a simple image. They are also network neutral or network agnostic, some people might say. meaning that you can use the content you create, those images that you create, whether it's a photograph or a quote, you can use those images you create on many different platforms. So rather than saying, here's how to use Facebook to build your platform, I'm looking at ways to help you build content, create content that you can repurpose and post in multiple places so that you're making the most efficiency, you have the most efficiency with your time and resources. So I'm going to share with you a few of the ways that several of my clients and others have used images in their book promotion and how you can too. So what I'm going to show you is 3 different types of images that you can create. Now, the first one may be obvious. And, I also want to back up just a second here and say that maybe you are thinking images. That's so obvious, Denise. But what I know is that most people don't leverage what they're doing nearly enough. So that's what I want to do, is help you see how many different ways you can leverage things. Or you can, but you're not doing it. I know, I'm guilty of that. I know lots of people are guilty of that. So this is about sharing ideas with you so that you can, see how you can apply it to your own book and promotion. So the first one I want to show you is about illustrations. So this is from my client, Stephen Josephs. Stephen Josephs wrote a parable called Dragons at Work. And this parable was one that he had illustrations commissioned for. So each chapter, almost each chapter, had an image. Now, how did he use those images? Those images he uses primarily on Facebook, but he also uses those images in videos that he can then share on other social networks. So, for example, he made a trailer video out of a selection of the images. I think there were about 30 images in the book, and he made a trailer video with a montage of the images. So instead of just putting them in the book or putting them on the website or putting them on Facebook, he also repurposed them into video. And this is a great way to really make use of those images, especially if you're commissioning illustrations to be made. Now, a lot of people don't put illustrations in their book, but that is a great way to really convey, as we said, the emotions and the tone of what's going on in the story or what the message is that you have to get across. And this was very, very effective for Stephen, because the first thing he did is that we had the book serialized on a blog. So when I started working with Stephen, he was a very well-known executive coach, but he had no online presence whatsoever. And he had no book at that time. He had a manuscript that was in the process of being edited, but he had no book, no blog site, no website at all. He wasn't on any social media, and he had no email list. And we worked together for about a year, and a lot happened in that year. Dragons at Work was serialized on the blog, and those images really played a significant role in that because they were so attractive and so powerful that those images attracted people to want to continue reading and to subscribe to his list to get the next installment of the story. That was very successful. Then after serializing the whole story on the blog, then he created a multimedia ebook. And that ebook has links, has all the images in it, but not only that, he had a lot of links to audio meditations and to videos and to interviews with other people as well. So he really expanded the whole ebook to be much richer. And then once the ebook was created, then he was able to create the physical book as well. And during that time, he built 2 blog sites, created presence on Facebook, Twitter, and started a very active LinkedIn group on transformational leadership. And as a result, built his list. So it all started first from the manuscript and then was really refined with the images, and that continued to build over time. So I think he ended up, I don't have his latest numbers, but I know his email list went from 0 to several hundred. He has an active LinkedIn group with over 600 members, and he's got a Facebook page where those images really stand out. So that's how he's using images. He uses the illustrations and then uses those illustrations in other ways to promote the book. Probably the way you're most familiar with people using images is as tips and quote images. And this, again, you may say, hey, that is so obvious, Denise, but let me just say that when I see people creating these images, most of the time they're using them once and that's it. And I'm going to be showing you a few other ways of how you can use the images so that you can know that there's ways to really leverage what you're doing. So instead of just posting an image with a quote on it from your book or a tip or a quote from somebody else who supports what you're doing or reinforces your message, then what I'm suggesting is that there's many more ways to do it rather than just posting it once on Facebook or maybe once in Instagram or once on Pinterest. Think about using your images in multiple ways. Now, quote images are so popular, either using your own photos or using, as I'm going to show you in the next example, using stock photos, royalty-free photos, or using quotes. And there are tons of sites where you can create quote images. This one from Catherine Robertson Pelling for her book Wheel of Creativity, which is at wheelofcreativity.com. This one that says Go Wild and Live Creative. That is created by a really fun site that you may be familiar with called Keep Calm-O-Matic, and it's based on that British poster from World War II, Keep Calm and Carry On. Somebody created a site where you can put in any content and it creates one of these, Keep Calm or Go Wild or whatever. So that's a fun site that you can use to create something that looks familiar but has your own personal message. The other thing that Catherine is doing is she's using her own photographs. She takes a lot of photographs. She lives in Europe and travels a lot and just takes the most beautiful pictures. And then she'll either include a quote from her book or a quote from somebody well-known, like in this example, it's Albert Einstein, and that reinforces her message. And then these images she posts on her Facebook page for her book, as well as on her Facebook profile. Now, I worked with Catherine for a while, and I was actually really thrilled when I finally got to meet her because she came to California on her book tour. And what we did is we worked to create a very, very specific visibility plan for the book when it was about 6 months from being published. And that plan included creating the visual content and creating a Facebook page. No, she already had the Facebook page, I think, but making sure that Facebook page became very active and also using that content on her blog and also from her blog to her Facebook page. But the images were the motif that tied everything together. And she took a lot of the quotes that she was making quote images from out of her book and out of the program that is also part of her book. And this has been a very successful strategy for her. She published her book a few months ago. I guess it was in the spring. And now that book, she is using the content from her book to create more images to promote a program based on the process of her book. So the images are being used to help keep the buzz going and promote spin-off programs. So in one series of images that she just completed, Catherine is highlighting each step of her program. It's a 12-part program called the Wheel of Creativity. So one image a day she is creating with information about that step, and then it's kind of hard to see, it's very small, but at the bottom there is a URL that takes people to the page with the information about her program. So she's using it to attract attention. She's using them on her blog and on Facebook again. Those are her two primary sites where she's very active, and she's drawing people to her business that way. And she's done a fabulous job. She does really good pictures. The next one I want to show you is a client who is also using images, quotes, and tips. Is a client of mine, Penelope Claytel, from EatOutEatWell.com. She also goes by Penny, so I'll probably call her Penny. And she, as you can probably tell by the image, this one, the cover that is showing is 30 ways to have low-calorie fun in the sun. And what she's doing is she uses a lot of stock photos or royalty-free photos, and then uses a tool called PicMonkey online to either ask questions or put quotes from her book or to provide tips. And she is very active also with having, not active, but she has had a very specific design created and or a graphic image created for her books, and that's what you'll see throughout when she is talking about her book. So in this case, she's taken the image for her book. She published this one in the summer, this past summer, and she's using the tool called PicMonkey to add extra content to it as a call to action to download the book when it was free on Kindle for a day or two. She offered it as a free Kindle book. So she's making multiple uses out of the cover image graphic. Penny has published 3 books in this series. She published them all in a year. When we started working together, she had no book. She had a blog, and she had an idea that she wanted to do a book. And what she did was she started with a mega book, and she put everything. She repurposed hundreds of blog articles because she had been blogging for a long time, for a few years. She repurposed lots and lots of blog articles into a mega book called The Sensible Holiday Eating Guide. Once that was published, then she took out she started pulling out bits for various niches. So the second one she pulled out was 30 Ways to Have Low-Calorie Fun in the Sun. And then for back to school, she pulled out appropriate tips and then created the third book, which is 30 Ways to Survive Dining Hall and Dorm Room Food. So what she's doing is really, we put together a big plan, a big visibility plan for what she wanted to do around her content with publishing, because she loves to write and she loves publishing books, and went from 0 books to 3 books in a year. And it's all repurposed content for the most part. Yes, there is editing in it. Yes, it gets put in different formats, but it is all repurposed in many ways. So, she's got ideas for many more holiday-specific and season-specific books that she can put out. And what she'll be doing is, creating graphics like we see here on the Kindle page, and graphics like this one, are you a dashboard diner? So this was about, having fun in the sun. And she uses these graphics to keep drawing people back to her site constantly. And Penny is active using sites like Pinterest and Instamatic she started using, and or Instagram. I always want to call it Instamatic. I don't know why, but maybe that's just aging me. I remember Instamatic cameras. Anyway, she's using a lot of her images on lots of different platforms to attract as many people as possible, because she's got a topic that is one that's attractive to a lot of people. Okay, now the next way to use photos, the next images that you want to think about using are reader photos, also known as user-generated content. It's kind of a jargony phrase there. UGC you might see sometimes when you're floating around the web. UGC, that means user-generated content, or content that your readers and audience are generating for you. Two people who've done this well, one in particular is Guy Kawasaki, who wrote the book Enchantment, among many other books. He held a contest on Facebook with reader photos. So he invited readers to take a photo of themselves with his book and post it, and then they would win something, and they were voted on by all the other people who were submitting photos and his audience, the other people in his audience. So that was a great way to use content that you don't have to create. Other people are creating it, as well as getting your audience super involved in what you're doing and really having fun with it. I mean, this is totally fun. I ran across this picture, the one on the right, for Power Up for Profits by Kathleen Gage, a good friend and colleague, and I just loved it. Somebody took a picture of the book, Kathleen's book, with their cats. Again, that's just, sharing how you can connect with people by asking them to take pictures of your book. So there's a lot of things you can do with it. Contests come to mind. Also sharing these pictures on your social networks, encouraging people to do that. You can ask people to post their pictures on Instagram, or post them on Twitter, or post them on a Pinterest board. It's really about encouraging people to really have fun with your book, as well as what it does in a kind of a subliminal way is it's showing the larger world that people are buying and reading your book. So it's happening on a subliminal level that, I see somebody, holding up a copy of Guy Kawasaki's book and say, oh, well, look at all these people who've bought Guy Kawasaki's book. Maybe I'll buy it too. Must be good. So that's what you're trying to do. You're engaging people. You are you're showing your audience that other people are buying your book, and you're getting to know your readers, which is really what the bottom line is here, is that you're engaging your readers to help you promote your book. Now, again, this isn't new. I didn't make this up. But I will tell you that it's few and far between the authors I could find who are doing this kind of engagement with their readers. So again, you have an opportunity really to step apart from all the other authors in your industry, by really creating some engagement through images. Okay, so told you I'm going to share 3 ways to use those images that you're creating. So at this point now you have several ideas for how you can use images. You can get illustrations made, you can use your own photos and use them with quotes and with tips, that kind of thing, from excerpts from your book. You can have readers contribute pictures from your book. Now, how do you use them? Now, I'm not going to go over the usual suspects like how to put photos on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. I want to show you a few different ways that you can use images. Now, Pinterest is obvious too. And again, I don't see enough authors doing this, and that's why I want to bring this to your attention, that this is a great tool for you to really show off what you're doing and become more visible. Make your book and your message much more visible to many more people. So create a Pinterest board or multiple boards for your book. This is a cookbook called Licking the Spoon, and the author, Candace Walsh, is featuring a lot of different pictures of people baking her recipes or holding her book. This is one board that's got a lot of different stuff going on, but it's all centered around her book. Some other ideas that you can use for using images on Pinterest is you can create a board just of quotes that relate to your message, your own quotes. That would be a way to really let people know what your whole message and ideas are around that. You can have a board just with reader images. I think that would be one of the best ways to do it. You can do a board of pictures of you at readings, or if you're doing book signings or book readings at the library or bookstores or your friend's home. Do a board with those kinds of images so that it's all consistent on the board. You could create a board with images of what inspires you. So it doesn't even have to be pictures of things related specifically to your book, but where do you get your inspiration when you write? Do you write at the beach? How about, posting pictures of, where you go for walks? The waves today, what's it like today, down in Santa Monica? Is it cold and windy? Is it hot and sunny? What is inspiring you? Another idea for a board would be to post the books that inspire you, or books that you love, books that you recommend. So it doesn't have to be all about you. This can be about the things that are important to you as well and your recommendations for your audience. Another idea for a Pinterest board would be cover art. Many authors go through a process of developing the graphic design for the covers of their book. What about a board featuring all the different iterations of your covers? What about getting input from your audience? Post the different images you're considering, the different graphics you're considering for your book cover, and have people click the little heart button, and the most hearts wins. Obviously, or maybe not so obviously, but pinning your blog posts. So if you're writing on a blog, which I recommend, and you're documenting the journey of your book, make sure that you have a board to pin those blog posts, because Pinterest does generate a lot of traffic back to blogs. The other thing you might want to do is have some kind of contest. Maybe have your audience pin their favorite books or a book that they want to read. It could be yours, it could be somebody else's book, and pick a winner and send them a copy of the book. So there's a lot of different ways to use the images on Pinterest, and I'd love to hear some of the ideas, the way you're using them. These are just a few that I was brainstorming about, so I could have a few examples for you. Okay, the next way to use images, way number 2, is creating an online magazine with your images. This site is relatively new. It might be about a year old now. It's called Glossi.com, Glossi.com, and it is a free site at this time. And it is, as an author, you can use it to create a really valuable added experience for your reader. So it allows you as the author to add photos or animations, video, audio, and text, and then and help you create another way to reach out to your fans. A notable author using it is Margaret Atwood, and what she did is that she published a chapter of one of her books as a Glossi magazine, and she could put pictures in it and videos in it of her reading. That would be a great way to use Glossi. The thing about Glossi is that as a web magazine, it can be embedded in your own blog, it can be linked to, it can be tweeted, and all the content, that Glossi that you create, that web magazine you create, will be indexed by Google and other search engines too. So it's another avenue for people to find your content and a different way for you to format it for people to give them a different sense of who you are and what you do. So this example that I pulled out, a cookbook by Jo Rushton, she shows pictures of cooking demonstrations and people eating her food, and a video of somebody who participated in one of her classes. That isn't really about the book per se, but it helps to sell the book because it's showing her readers how to use the book. So this was an exciting one I saw. I really like this use of the web magazine. So that's something that I would love you to consider. And all those images that you're creating, all those quote images, all those photographs that you're taking can be used here as well in the online magazine. Now, the third way that I'd like you to consider using your images is by creating a slideshow. So, for example, what you're looking at now on the web is a slideshow. It's a PowerPoint presentation. You can also use Keynote or Google Drive. It's all the same. You're creating slides. But you can create a slideshow and post it on the most popular slide sharing site on the web, which is slideshare.net. Now, I found this one because I was doing a search for how authors were using SlideShare, and I ran across this one, which I really liked because it's about how to sell and write a book. So I thought that would be a good one to show you. And what this is Rohit Bhargava, who is a colleague that I know and just writes great business books. But he created an entire slideshow with the behind the scenes of what it took to write his second book, Lyconomics. So and he published it right before the book went on sale. Now, these slideshows can also have video in them. They can have links, clickable links in them. So think about how you could put together a set of slides. It doesn't have to be 60 slides like Rohit's is. It could be 5 slides or 10 slides that gives a little bit of a backstory to your book, or gives maybe it's a slideshow of you, on your book tour, or maybe it's screenshots of all the blog tour sites that you guest posted on. Whatever your collection of images, you could also use as slides. So let's say like in the case of Catherine Robertson Pilling, she's got her 12, the images with the 12 steps, or the 12 elements of her Wheel of Creativity. she could put one on each page and then just write a little, 2 sentences maybe about what that step is or that part of the wheel is. And then she has a 12-page or 12-slide deck that she can upload to slideshare.net. So again, there's many, many ways that you can do this. And if you don't have PowerPoint and you don't have Keynote, Google Drive is free, so there's no obstacle there for being able to do this. And it's easy. You just insert an image, write a couple sentences, and then do the next one. And of course, you'll want to have your picture and your bio in it, but this is a great way to make another use of the images that you're creating. Now, this presentation, I want to say, as a side note, is a lesson in itself on how to consistently build visibility for your own book and really own your idea, because Rohit goes through from how he got the idea to the publication of the book. And it's really fascinating. It's quick to flip through the slides, but I really highly recommend that you take a few minutes, go to slideshare.net, and then just put in the search box Lyconomics, and it'll come right up. I highly recommend taking a look at that. So I have now shared with you 3 different ways that aren't the usual suspects that you can be using the images that you're creating. So create various Pinterest boards. Don't just stop with one. Create create multiple boards. Create an online magazine with Glossy.com, and create a slideshow with SlideShare and post it on SlideShare. Another tip about SlideShare is that if you if you are on LinkedIn, LinkedIn bought SlideShare, and they're integrated, so your slide decks can be also presented on your LinkedIn profile. So that's a bonus there. Okay, so the next step is that I was going to tell you about some tools that can help you really make your images pop. So instead of just buying a royalty-free image and using it just as is, use an image editor like PicMonkey, which is extremely popular. Whenever I ask people, what's your favorite photo editing tool, PicMonkey always is at the top of the list, always. PicMonkey has a free version and a pro version. I think the pro version is, what is it? I bought it. I think it's $49 a year for the pro version, and it's well worth it because it really expands the number of options you have for dressing up your images. I use it every single day, and there are ways to enhance the photo, put frames around the photo. It's like Instagram on steroids, and it's a desktop application, and it's super easy. You just import your image, and then you've got tons of choices for really snazzing up your images. If you are looking for specific images, make sure you can always buy royalty-free images. I use Big Stock Photo. I like their selection, and they are not free, though. You do have to pay for them. But when you do pay for those images, you know that you're getting something that you're allowed to use versus just doing a search on Google and using whatever picture comes up. That would be copyright violation, so I recommend that you do not do that. Another option is to use screenshots. I take a lot of screenshots of stuff. So Snagit is a robust paid version of Jing, which is free, and they're both from the company TechSmith, which also that has Camtasia. So Snagit is the paid version, Jing is the free version, and you can do a search on either one of those, but they're really simple for grabbing screenshots. And so if your book is a how-to book or something like that, then definitely you'll want to have some kind of screen capture tool. And this is not the be-all and end-all list. I just wanted to show you a few things that you can get started with if you haven't already. I mentioned that one image by Catherine that said, "Go wild and get creative." That was created on a site, Keep Calm-O-Matic. And if you just do a search on Keep Calm-O-Matic, you'll get right to it. Then I have about a year ago, I wrote a post on sites where you can create quote images. And maybe you saw some of the ones that I created when I was promoting this webinar. But there are oodles of sites listed in that post, which you can find at denisewakeman.com/quote. I've embedded a list that's got dozens on it. So if you are looking for something specific, you will find it. There are so many. Some of the sites I use for creating quote images are Pinstamatic, PinQuote, Quozio, Recite This. I think those are the main ones that I use. So take a look at that blog post. There's a lot of resources there for you. So, wow, it's about 10 minutes before the hour. Time flies, doesn't it? Okay, so what's next? This image, Keep Calm and Promote Your Book. That was created at keepcalm-o-matic.com. It's not .com, it's .uk, I think. Anyway, so what's next? Are you thinking possibly, all these ideas for using images to promote your book and you don't know where to start? If you are starting on your book marketing journey or you've been struggling to sell the books you've already published, then just imagine what it would be like if you already had a large, loyal following of readers or a community of people in tune with your message and wanting to know more. And what if they're ready and willing to buy your book when it's published? What would it be like if it was easy to promote your book? What if you had a plan that was simple to follow? What if you didn't have to do 1,000 tactics? Because there are at least 1,000 that you could do, but you could start with just a few and build from there. What if your marketing tactics were actually building a list so you have raving fans who want your book when it's ready? That would be so much less stressful, wouldn't it? I know it would be for me. I know it would be for me. But I also know that, there's a lot of roadblocks because I hear about them all the time. Now, I do want to let you know that I did promise you a bonus tip, and I will get to that in a couple of minutes. But I just want to go through some things, and I also want to tell you a little bit about a program that I have coming up, if you'll hang in there with me. So, and I'll get to that tip in just a minute. So I was on a Google Hangout on Sunday with Alex Mandossian, who's a well-known marketer. And he said something that really clicked for me because it was so true in my experience. He said that the reason why most people fail, if they fail, is that 1, they don't get started, 2, they don't keep going, and 3, they don't go in the direction they are taught. And I understand that because there are so many choices. I know that when I ask people, when I'm having discovery calls with people or I'm talking with my clients, it's like, what happened? Why do you feel like you're not selling enough books, that kind of thing, that most people say that they feel very much overwhelmed by all the choices. I mean, there's a book out there by John Kremer, a very famous book for book marketing called 1,001 Ways to Market Your Books. That sounds overwhelming to me. There's too many choices. Or people don't know where to start. Again, there's so many choices. What do you start with? They don't know how. How do you do this, that, or the other thing? How do you promote your book on Facebook? How do you create images? How do you do a Google Hangout? How? There's a lot of people who don't know how. The other roadblock is that lots of people don't take action. They just don't take action. They want it, but they don't take action. Or they take some action, but they stop taking action. They're not consistent with the action they're taking. They try one or two things. They think it doesn't work, so they stop. This frustrates me so much because I know that you have an important message to share. I meet so many amazing people. I see what you're doing online, and it's like, why isn't it working for you? It frustrates me to no end, honestly, that when I hear from entrepreneurs and authors who have devoted so much time and energy and expertise to their book, and then they can't sell it. And there are a lot of roadblocks that come up on the path to selling more books. There are. Some of these reasons I've just laid out for you, and it results in not enough sales. Now, I've said there's thousands of ways to promote a book, and what happens is a lot of people, and maybe this applies to you, that you get paralyzed by all that information that you're diligently gathering and studying. Then it's like, where do I start? How do I know it'll work? What if it doesn't work? You try one or two things and then stop, and you only sell a few books, and then you're frustrated and say these things don't work. But the fact is that most marketing tactics do work if you give them a chance. So how do you remove the roadblocks to selling more books? You don't want to necessarily do the ready, fire, aim method. It really helps to create a plan that you want to implement, that you want, not that somebody else thinks you should implement, that you want to implement. What I found that it helps to keep it simple. Learn tactics that will accelerate your results, that you can leverage over and over. Most importantly, pick the tactics that you enjoy doing. Don't get started doing something because someone told you to or someone said it's the best. If you don't like doing it, then you won't do it. That's my experience. If you hate being on video, you're not going to do it. And implement what you do enjoy so that you can build your audience. That is really, the most important thing. So, this is what I would like to offer you, your next action. I have developed a program called 3 Proven Tools to Help You Engage Readers and Sell More Books for authors and entrepreneurs. And what I've done very, very purposefully is I'm keeping it simple and small, only 3 tools, because you need to start somewhere. And I know that when you experiment and try things, then you will have success. You find out if it works, what works, and how to make it work. You need to start somewhere, and I want you to experiment and implement without getting completely overwhelmed. So instead of saying, here's 50 things you can do to market your book, which I could easily do, I want to focus on 3 tools that are proven to get results. And you can learn about them and then decide what works best for you. I don't want to overwhelm you with dozens of tactics. If you can focus on learning and mastering just 3 tactics, put them into practice, and start seeing results, then that will motivate you to keep on going consistently. A very key part there, consistency. And then you can layer on the next tactic, the next one as you go. Also, I've chosen tactics that are platform agnostic. As I said, they're platform neutral. So rather than teach you how to use Facebook to promote your book, I want to help you leverage your time and resources because I think that's more important. So you can focus on tactics that you can repurpose and reuse on multiple social networks. So the modules, how it's going to work is in the first session, we're going to map out your initial visibility plan. So whether you're in a pre-launch phase or you've already published your book and you need to kind of relaunch it, so that's totally cool. We're going to work on a visibility plan that will help you build your platform, build that audience that you can connect with, get their attention, and at the same time grow your email list, because your email list is going to be one of the primary ways that you're going to be the most successful engaging with people when it's time to say, now it's time to buy my book. So that's the first step, is figure out a simple plan that you are excited about implementing. The second module is about images. Now, you're probably thinking, well, you just showed me how to use images. Well, believe me, there are many, many more ways to use images, and there are many different, more types of images. So, yes, I've showed you 3 types of images and ways to use them, but we're going to go a little bit deeper and I'm going to share with you more ways to use visual content on your social networks so you can grab attention. Then I'm going to cover audio and how to draw people in with your voice. I'm going to share 3 tactics for using audio so you can connect more deeply with your reader. So one thing that we'll talk about is podcasting. Now that might sound overwhelming, but there are some simple ways to do it, and I'm all about simple. So I'm going to show you how to use audio in a simple way. And then finally, I'm going to cover Google Hangouts, because let me tell you, this is the ultimate visibility tool. It is the ultimate. I have been studying and using Google Hangouts for quite a few months now, and they're rocking my world, and they're rocking a lot of people's world, and I want you to learn how to use them so you can decide if you want to use them, but learn about how you can use them to really create intimacy with your audience and move them to action. That's the key thing. And Google Hangouts, they are powerful, very, very powerful. What you will learn, you'll be able to use over and over again, whether it's for promoting your next book or your programs or your services. These aren't one-time things. This is evergreen kind of content that you can apply to many different facets of your business. I am also going to set up a private community so you can network between the classes, ask questions. I know that's a really important thing for really getting the learning, really helping you cement that learning and make those decisions and get help from your peers, because everybody has a different level of experience. I'm also will be recording every session, so you'll get the MP3 and you'll also get word-for-word transcripts of each session. And then about 2 weeks after we complete the 4 modules, there will be a live follow-up Q&A call to ask your specific questions, and if necessary, there'll be some laser coaching as time permits. So that'll be, you know, a little bit down the road so that you'll have time to practice, play with, experiment, and, you know, have an adventure. We're going to have an adventure and have fun with this. So the training begins on October 8th. There are 4 training modules plus the bonus Q&A call, the private networking group, recordings, and transcripts. Now, the fee for this is $497 for the program, and there's also a 2-part payment plan. What I'm going to do for you today, though, is offer a $50 discount on this. Because you're here listening to this call, you're watching these slides, I want to reward you with that. And I'm offering you a $50 discount, so it'll be $447 or $225 and $275 for the payment plan. And if you go to denisewakeman.com/sellbooks, and when you register and use the coupon code sell books, it'll automatically deduct $50 off of that fee. This coupon is only good for 3 days. It expires on Sunday the 22nd. Now, I was also speaking with my own mentor, and she suggested, and I said, right on, I'm going to do this. I'm going to also offer another bonus, and that the first 10 people who sign up are going to get a one-on-one strategy session with me to discuss the visibility plan for your book. So you'll get the $50 discount plus the first 10 people get a one-on-one strategy session. It'll be a 30-minute session, and we're going to talk specifically about the visibility plan for your book. That would be typically a $200 session, and I don't even do 30-minute sessions. So, there you go. Most people don't get that access. So that is the offer for you. Go to denisewakeman.com, sell books. Use coupon code SELLBOOKS, and you'll save $50. The first 10 people will also get a 30-minute strategy session. Now, the bonus tip. Make sure you include a call to action when you are sharing your images. This is where most people fail. They do not put any call to action. And that can really sabotage your efforts. So whether it's on the image itself or in the description when you post an image, you must always, 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 always include a call to action. Because otherwise people say, oh, nice image, or wow, that's a great tip, or oh, nice quote, I feel motivated. But then there's nothing left for them to do. They don't know what to do because you haven't asked them to do anything. Now, again, seems obvious, right? But most people don't do it. Believe me, I look at a lot of stuff on the web, and most people do not do it. So this will set you apart again, and it's going to increase your chances of selling more books. Your CTA, or call to action, will depend on where you are in the process of your book marketing. So if you're at the very beginning, then it may be a list building call to action. So, click here to get on the early bird list, to find out when the book is published. It could be a call to action for engagement. So let's say you're doing a contest, or you want people to post the images of them holding your book. You need to tell them to do that. Click here to post your image. Click here to enter the contest. Whatever it is, make sure you include that call to action, because this is where I see a lot of problems. So again, it will depend on the cycle. Maybe it's list building, maybe it's engagement, maybe it's selling the book. But there is always going to be an opportunity for you to include that call to action when you post that image, whether it's on your blog, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Pinterest. There's always an opportunity for you there. So don't waste it, please. Okay, so it's a little past the hour. Again, I would love to have you join me for the program, 3 Clever Ways, 3 Clever Tools. No, this was 3 Clever Ways. Oh, I'm tired. 3 proven tools to help you engage readers and sell more books. Again, it's 4 training modules, bonus Q&A call, private networking group, recordings, transcripts. Starts on October 8th. You can save $50 if you sign up before Sunday. And the first 10 people will get a 30-minute strategy session to work on your specific visibility plan for your book. So I hope you will join me. Now, I know a few people have been posting questions, so I'm just going to take a couple of questions, just click through and see. And okay, somebody was saying that they're having trouble getting on my site. That's not good. Let me see where my questions are. Okay. Okay. So somebody suggested, Jen in Virginia, suggested another alternative to PowerPoint or Keynote is, and I'd forgotten about this one, OpenOffice. It's a free alternative to Microsoft. And you just do a Google search, OpenOffice, and you'll find the free tool for creating PowerPoint slides. Okay, Kathy in Raleigh asks, how would you get your content seen on SlideShare.net? Well, like content that you post anywhere, you really, really need to promote your content. It's like your content is promoting whatever you're promoting, like your book, but you also need to promote the content that's promoting what you're promoting. Okay, that's confusing. So on SlideShare, you can embed those slides on your blog. You can share slide decks all over social media. There's social media sharing tools built into SlideShare. And if you tend to drive a lot of traffic to your SlideShare, your slide deck, then it rises to the top and it gets promoted as a hot slide deck, a hot slideshow, and that can really, really boost the viewing. So it really pays to promote the slide deck once you upload it. The more people who see it, the more opportunity you have to sell your books, build your list, get more visibility for your book. Heidi Schlatter says, is the magazine good for interviews? Absolutely. If your book includes content from other people or research you've done, interviewing other people, include those interviews in your book or in your online magazine. That's a great way to get more visibility. Excuse me, because some of those people may actually promote it for you as well. Whenever you feature someone else, they will most likely let their communities know as well. So that's a great way to reach new people. So yes, use interviews in your online magazine. Okay, Rosalind has a great question. Can you translate for B2B service businesses that aren't image-oriented? Well, I think that some of the ways that I shared with you, using quotes from your book, tips from your book, create image quotes. So a site like, going to PicMonkey and putting an image on a photograph, or going to Keep Calm-O-Matic and using a quote from your book, or going to one of the quote image sites that is in the blog post that I referred you to. Images, an image with a quote on it, that's an image. So if it's a JPEG that you can put on your blog, put on Facebook, those are images. So whether it's a quote or an actual picture of something is irrelevant. So you can find ways to use the content you have and repurpose it into images. And that's a great way for B2B services to do that, or businesses to do that. Susie asks, Denise, would you recommend separate blogs and Facebook pages for your books, or can you do it on your main blog? That's a good question, too. It can be done both ways. And some authors will create a whole site dedicated to their book and all the programs that maybe evolve out of that book. But I would say, if you want to conserve your resources and your energy, have it be a part of your existing site, especially if the content is in alignment with what your business site is already about. So if it's a book that is reflective of the work that you do already, you can just create another page on your existing site and use that. For Facebook, it's the same thing. The thing is that you've got to be really careful about your energy. What happens is that people tend to create too much stuff, and then they can't maintain it because there's too many places to post. So if the content of your book is the same as what you do for your business, use your existing resources. If it's completely different, if you're you're a life coach, but you write a cookbook because that's a passion of yours, then I would say you've got to do it, a new site, a new Facebook page for that, because it's not related at all to what your business is about. So I hope that helped. And let me just check, see if there's any more questions. Can you please repeat the site that puts images to your quotes, from Catherine Robertson Pilling? Okay, so the one that I showed that she used was Keep Calm-O-Matic. Keep Calm-O-Matic. You can do a search for that on Google, and you will find it. And that looks like it is just about, that's all the questions. So again, I would love to have you join me in the program. Starts October 8th. And we are going to have a lot of fun experimenting with more ways to use images. We're going to be experimenting with audio, and we're going to be experimenting with Google Video, because that is powerful, and I really am excited about sharing that with you because it's got so many applications. So be sure to go to DeniseWakeman.com/sellbooks and register today. If you're one of the first 10, you'll get a bonus 30-minute one-on-one strategy session with me, and we will work specifically and on your visibility plan for your book. Thank you very, very much for being with me today. I appreciate your time. And if you have any questions about this, about what we've talked about today, be sure to shoot me an email. You can send it to Denise@DeniseWakeman.com. Thank you so much for joining me today.